Right, so, finally, Phil Mason, i.e. Thunderf00t, has made a response video to Stefan Molyneux. I've been waiting for 2 months, my hair's grown, my beard no longer resembles a Muslim, settings have finally improved on my camera, and it was a joy to watch. Even though it was a complete straw man from beginning to end, you know, when you wait this long for a video like this, it's just gold.
It's fairly easy to spot cults.
Don't you want a world of unconditional love and brotherhood?
Guaranteed, guaranteed. It will set the world free if you do the following.
When you call something cult, it's a very fine line between what is a cult and what is just something that has cultish tendencies. i.e., many organisations, for example, might say to a woman or a man who is suffering at the hands of a partner, you should leave, you should come to us, we'll help you, we'll give you shelter. But I don't think that you would ever call refuge a cult, now would you? No. Well, that's what refuge does, and that's what Stefan Molyneux sometimes says. He sometimes says you should probably, you know, consider leaving the people who might be being bad to you. From what I've seen of FDR in my life, well, I don't consider it a perfect organisation, and I don't really consider it a very comfortable organisation to be in, so as of such I'm not an everyday listener to it. But from what I see of Stefan's videos from time to time, I think that he wins a cigar. Now what I found just so aggravating, or just, you know, that he's being willfully ignorant about this video, is that throughout the entire thing, he never ever addresses the main point of what Stefan's saying. He always just goes off on strawman tangents of saying, well, you know, religion isn't like the state because the state exists and God doesn't, so therefore they're completely different constructs with no similarities whatsoever. What Steph is saying, as just about any anarchist, any voluntarist, any classical liberal, is saying is basically, it's not compassionate to go and ask people, hand over your money so I can give it to someone else. It's not compassionate to say, hand over your money so I can provide a service. Okay, that's force.
Does he really not understand why people implement governments? It may not be the best form of running a civilization. As Churchill said, democracy is the worst form of government, except for all the others that have been tried.
You keep on going, oh, democracy, democracy, oh, Churchill, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's think about what democracy is. 49% of people vote for something that they don't like. You know, say, we don't want to bomb ISIS. We don't think that it's a reasonable cause. But, oh, I'm sure you'd love that now, wouldn't you, Phil? Doesn't matter. If 51% vote in favour of it, doesn't matter. That's enough. 51% of the people decide how the other 49% should live. Now, if you really think that that is the greatest, most pinnacle point of how to lead a society, then please, good God, we should feel really sorry for ourselves. Really, really bad. What we have found through democracy is that time and time again, governments get bigger. People don't get freer. Politicians offer things like healthcare, education, infrastructure, police, etc. And that way, they will get votes. That's how it works. Politicians realised it was easier to get into power if they promised more. It just happens that those good intentions that they promised us actually turned out to be pretty damn shitty.
Why bother to distinguish between dictators and first world democracies? It's not like there's any real difference between them.
Yeah. The difference between dictatorship and democracy is that in dictatorship, people screw you over. In democracy, you vote for people to screw you over. Yeah, big change, isn't it? Picking one of 2 people to decide how to rule your life is basically the same as being free.
It's really binary stuff.
Yes or no? It's a yes or no question. Will you support me getting shot if I disagree?
You either support him being shot, or you don't.
Well, Phil, what happens if you do disagree with the majority? At the least, you'll be given a fine. If you don't pay that fine, you'll go to prison. And in this country, because, you know, guns aren't that common, you'll get beaten to death if you try to defend yourself from being forcibly taken away.
He just doesn't seem to register the fact that sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Actually, yes he does. You've done the research. Have you found the video where he states that self-preservation is a right?
Now, someone comes to take a kidney, sure. Someone invades your home, sure. Somebody steals your car, maybe shoot to wound, not to kill, but...
He would shoot you himself.
Oh, You have, and you still make it into a straw man attack. Good God, Phil. Good God.
So there's a gun, whenever you're talking about property, there is a legitimate gateway to self-defense, to the use of force.
Okay. You know what? Maybe I'll agree with you on this. Maybe. You might be right about some of the things that he says. Just like I don't agree with everything that you say about feminism or capitalism. But that doesn't mean that I dislike every single one of your videos. And anyway, here's an idea. I don't like the fact that I steal £7,500 out of people's pockets so that I can go to university. But guess what? It's there. It's available for me. So why don't I bloody go and take it? Okay, because everybody else is. Why should I pay with my own money? Okay? I'm a selfish person. Just about everybody is. Get used to it. Oh yeah, that's another thing. I don't understand why you'd like selfish people to rule over you.
But then again, I'm not the one arguing that if we get rid of all of the laws and the mechanisms for enforcing them, that the world will magically become a better place, and then making claims that it's everyone else who believes in magical solutions. I mean, for pity's sake, you're advocating a position that we get rid of all of the laws.
So you think that in order for society to function right, in order for us to love one another and cooperate, that we need to have these laws, that we need to have top-down order, that it's got nothing to do with morality and freedom, it's all to do with control. If we didn't have laws requiring people to pay money to redistribute around, we wouldn't be able to function. Oh yeah, that's right, America didn't even have an income tax until 101 years ago. How do they function? Did they all just die with such few taxes around? No. And the point is, even if that were true, that we needed these laws to function, government isn't really a very good way of doing it. Okay? Because governments get bigger and bigger and bigger and introduce stupid laws, like banning the sale of 1600-watt vacuum cleaners. Because, the environment, we don't trust you to look after your environment, we have to intervene, and we need to change laws and make things go so that you can't have them. Grrr. Look at America. Started off very small, very weak, very, very minor government. But even though they had a constitution that prevented them from enacting certain laws, what has happened? In just about every aspect of American society, you have laws. To which I suppose you would argue that if we didn't have many of these laws, that people would just go around killing each other.
Someone who's in a concentration camp is not supporting the regime, even if they're not fighting it.
Well, Steph, I hate to break this to you, but in concentration camps, there were guys with machine guns who would kill you without a second thought or consequences to them if you tried to leave the concentration camp. There is no one who will try to kill you if you want to leave a first world democracy.
Right, so I should have the obligation to leave for not doing anything. Because you are the one who is forcing me to live in a certain way. If I own a house, and I do no wrong to anyone else, and then somebody somewhere comes up to me and goes, I want you to hand over 40% of your income. Okay, I've done nothing wrong to anyone, nothing whatsoever, and you're going to send me to jail if I don't pay you. You just say, oh, well, you can always just go somewhere else. No! I didn't do anything. I don't have any obligation. None of us do. I didn't ask for an NHS. I didn't ask for public libraries and public schools. I think I would pay for these things if I had the choice, but for the most part, I don't.
And there are anarchist utopias out there where you could live free from all of this hypocrisy and free from the state monopoly of violence.
You are really dumb. Yeah, that's right. I'm saying that. An undergrad. A 20-year-old undergrad telling a 42-year-old man with a PhD in science that he is ignorant. Big ignorant, for that respect, when it comes to politics, philosophy and economics. About 2 years ago, when I heard about libertarianism and all that jazz, I was pretty skeptical. I disagreed with many of the points, but I didn't just go around making videos saying, oh, how terrible these people are, and how I disagree with all these things, and how they just think that we'll all just come together as some kind of miracle society, and how people who are anti-state are all loonies. I was pretty darn open-minded to the whole thing. I went and asked many libertarians, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And they very happily embraced me into their society and told me answers and alternatives to certain solutions that I never would have thought of before. I never would have understood before. And that was me, a 19-year-old man, asking people and being incredibly skeptical to the whole situation of libertarianism. And to this day, I'm not entirely sure if anarcho-capitalism is 100% foolproof or certain to bring about a more moral society or whatever. But if people are anarcho-capitalist, well, I have a lot of respect for you. You have 22 years of extra experience than me, and you go around just dismissing these people by saying, oh, if you don't agree with the state, then you should go live in Somalia, despite the fact that's been debunked many, many a time. You are an intellectual, but it's very clear to me that you're not interested in anything to do with economics. You're not interested at all in the nature of a society or a government. You have no understanding or interest about the whole history of anarchy and libertarianism. All you seem to want to do, all you seem to care about, is just pledging to the government, oh, please take some money from people who have provided me with good, cheap services so that you can give me crappy, less cost-effective services for free. Grow up.